upgrade. We are doing the upgrade. So in the pre-processing phase, I think these steps are completed. In the pre-processing phase here, we got some errors here. This is the known errors. If you don't perform the pre-checks correctly, the open update records, the queued RFCs, the queues and everything, definitely, so it will be failed here. So it's saying that 9 update records found failed in SM13 here. So these are the pre-steps. As part of the pre-steps, we discussed one step like clear the if any failed update record, check if any failed update records found. So then we need to clear them. So there are the 9 records found. So can select it and delete that one. Select and delete that update records, right? Then it's done. So just click on the next button, then it will go to the next step here. So like that, it will check the it will check. So that's the reason we need to clearly check the all the pre steps we have to perform it. Then we have to proceed the next steps here, right? Reset the profiles parameters cache here. So all the steps we have to clearly one by one we have to perform it here, right? So this is the one we have to check here. So it's saying that the online 3300 is not reached 107. So it's not the 107. It's a somewhere it's pointing to the wrong IP. Those IP we need to check why it is pointing to the wrong IP. The 107. So what is the IP? 117. So 107. Connection timeout. So like that, if any errors comes, we need to fix it out. We need to take it to the next steps here. We need to take it to the next steps here. That is what we have to do it in our systems, our SAP systems here. Okay. So, so actually what exactly happened? So if I talk about the entire some overview session here. So this is our, suppose let's assume this is our host. In this host, we have the SAP. The SAP system is available here. So then this is the DB in the database here. This is SAP. This is the DB here. So SAP is running on the kernel, right? This is the SAP kernel here, right? So SAP kernel, SAP original kernel, original system, our original system here. SAP our original system here. So here database, we have the repository. Every database, we have the repository. It contains the database repository objects. So this is like a original repository, right? So here we have the shadows. Here we have the tables here, application tables here. Here we have the application tables here, application. So tables, application tables we have here, application tables we have here, right? Application tables we have here. So here system is running on fine here, right? System is running on here. So as part of the upgrade, so this is a SAP, this is the database which is running fine. So one you plan for the SAP upgrade from one version to another version, you plan for the upgrade here. So in this case, you have checked the sum tool, then host agent, sum tool, and host agent. These are the OS level tools here. Sum tool and host agent operating system level tool. So operating system level, the one of the small service here. Okay. So some tool will not directly talk to the SAP system here. Via host agent, some tool will connect to the our SAP system here. Via host agent, some tool will connect to the one SAP system here. original SAP system here. You started the sum tool, sum start space config host agent, then which means you are registering the sum into the config host agent and you are giving to the, you are asking to connect to the SAP system here. That's why space SAD you are giving here, right? Space SAD you are giving to the here, right? That is what you have done it here, right? So that is you have done it here. So then some screen you have started, then you have selected as a standard system, shadow system you required. So then exit extraction phase it started, extraction phase it started. In the extraction phase, all the files will be extracted. In the extraction phase, all the files, so all the files will be extracted. So those things will happen in the extraction phase here, right? All the files, softwares, everything will be extracted in the extraction phase here. So once you start the sum tool, once you provide the DDIC passwords and everything, then it will go to the extraction phase here. In the extraction phase, what will happen? All the extracted, right? All the patches will be extracted to EPS indirectory, trans directory, EPS indirectory. All the patches will be extracted. It will scan the current software folder and SAP system status components, all are matching or not, XML file. Then it will extract the all the softwares and everything here. Then it will go to the configuration phase. In the configuration phase, what will happen? So configuration phase, configuration of the parameters here. Uptime, how many parameters, downtime, how many parameters. So those details we have to provide to the here. Uptime, how many process, how many parameters. So those details we have to provide to the, so you know, we have to provide to the, so in the sum tool we have to provide it, and also SPDD, SPAU transport request if any, if anything. So all the configurations related parameters, so all the details it will ask us, missing nodes, everything it will ask us. So then once we provide this configuration, main thing is here, so uptime. So here the R3 load process, SQL process, R3 trans process, above process, how uptime, how many, the downtime, how many process we have to provide it here. So those details we have to provide it here. Those details we have to clearly so provide it in the systems here, right? So here the main thing is like here. So how many process we have to provide it here? That is the main thing here. So entire your sum upgrade will depend upon the that process here. That mean how many process we have to provide it here. Here the configuration phase main thing is here the uptime above process, right? So then above process, then SQL process. So R3 trans process here, then R3 load process here. So above process here. Above process means, so here pretty straightforward here, right? How many background process are available in the main system, right? So this is the, if you go to the SM50, you can check the how many process are there. So those details you can go it. So refer the SM50 screenshot. So the T code screenshot, then how many process you have to give, it will give you the some information here, right? So uptime and the downtime. So when it comes to the SQL process here, this parts looks like here we need to provide the number of CPU cores here. Number of CPU cores. Number of how many number of CPU cores we have. Those CPU cores we have to here. Here there are the some long running pages here, DB clone, and there are the, so there are the some phases like PAR, PARCON star some phases it will run in the SQL process here. So here we need to provide the, so how many number of CPU process here, right? Suppose you have the 16 CPU process here, then 2 threads here, then so you need to provide the, so 1 or 2 times of number of CPUs like that we have to provide it here, right? Number of CPU process we have to provide it here. If suppose like you have the uptime, how many process, number of CPU cores. So how many number of CPUs means 1 or 2 times of number of CPU times you have to give it here. Suppose like you have the so 8 CPUs, then 8 CPUs we have to give it here, right? So number of CPU processes, number of CPU cores or number of CPU process, so number of CPUs. So those things we have to give it here, right? So if the CPUs are 8, then SQL process are 8, and if 10 process, 18 process, like that number of CPU cores we have to give it to the here, right? So R3 trans process, how many we have to give for the R3 trans here, right? So R3 trans process here, there are the some long running phases like here, the tabium star, tabium underscore UPG, and shadow import. So such shadow underscore import, right? And also shadow imports and DDIC underscore UPG. So these are the some phases here. These are the some phases here, long running phases here. For these phases, we'll use the so number of so parallelisms to complete the your upgrade smoothly. So here means so maybe someone posted the details, how many process we have to give it in the screenshots, right? So here above process by default we can take it out. So otherwise, so we need to calculate to complete the our upgrade work speed completely. So to shorten the our upgrade runtime timelines here, we can increase this process here. But based on that, how will you increase, right? Based upon the number of CPU cores here, right? So here, 1 or 2 times of CPU cores here. But what about the R3 trans? Which phases? Tabium, shadow import, DDIC imports. This will running from longer time here. So here the main thing is here. So each process here R3 trans process here. So R3 trans process each based upon the memory. How many memory we have. So based upon that, so we can take it here, right? So here number of CPUs. So if you 1 into number of CPUs, we have to give it here. R3 trans process 1 into so number of CPUs, how many CPUs we have, number of CPUs we can give it here. Here, the SQL process 1 or 2 times of CPU process also we can give it. Here, only 1 into number of CPUs we have to give it here. That is the main important thing here, right? So, and also if you take the R3 load process here, R3 load process is the main process here, right? It will play the main role in the entire upgrade here, release upgrade or some upgrades or entire upgrade. It will play the major role here. So here, so the thumb rule is here, R3 load process here. So straightforward here, 3 into number of CPUs. 3 into the number of CPUs we can give it here. If you have the 8 CPUs, 3 into 8, 24 process uptime, then double of the downtime process we can take it here. These are the parallel pages here. So these are the parallel pages here. So this is the one of the important step which we have to give to some tool during the configuration phase. Configuration phase. In the configuration phase, it will ask all the details here, right? Suppose if you see here, if you go to the some utilities, I think here also we can see how many process you have given. So those details we can see it here. So if you go to the some parameters here, some utilities, so some process parameters here. See here, above process, uptimes 8, 12, 8, 12, 8, 12. So R3 will process only 3 into. So like that we will give it here. Then we will proceed the next steps here. Number of CPU cores. How can we find out the CPU cores here? If you go to the task manager, so then CPU, if you select the CPU here, then how many CPUs are there? Here it will give you the information here, right? Otherwise, in the Linux level, if you use the ls CPU command, there you can find out the how many CPUs are there. Here you can find out here, right? So this way you can find out the number of process, parallel processing, and everything we can provide it here, right? That is the main thing here. So that is the extraction configuration. So main is the configuration phase. In the configuration phase, how many process you have chosen here, how many process you have chosen, based on that, that number of process, based on that number of process will take it further. So how many process you have given, based on that. So how many process you have given, Based on that, your upgrade will be, so upgrade time will be reduced here. That is the main thing here. So then check space, it will check the free space, database level, application level, all the free steps, any inconsistency, any inactive objects, all those things it will check it out. Then pre-processing step, the starting of the pre-processing, it will ask the, so this is the main step here, pre-processing step here. In this step, shadow will be created here. In this step, system, shadow system will be created here. So some will create the one shadow system here, right? Some will, you no need to create it here, but because you need a shadow system, then some will create the one shadow system here. Some will create the one shadow system here, same as like your original SAP system. Some will create the one shadow system here, shadow SAP, right? So SAP, then shadow system here, SAP shadow, right? Same as like original system, it will create the one shadow system here. So some tool will connect via host agent, some tool will connect to the your shadow system here. Okay. So previously it is connected to the original system. Now it will connect to the pre-processing phase. Some tool will build the shadow system, and also some will create the shadow repository here in the database level. So only repository will be created here. That is called the shadow repository. That is called the SHD repository here. So SHD repository will be created here. Then here shadow system here. Then shadow system, here the shadow system here, right? So in the same database, wherever you have the database and same application server, primary application server, your shadow SAP system, shadow repository will be created here. So what will happen here? Shadow system is created. Then, so then when the pre-processing phase, it will copy the data in the pre-processing phase from original repository to the shadow repository. It will copy the data here, right? While copying the data, your original repository will be locked the original repository, which means the developer changes will not be happen from the original repository to shadow repository when we are doing the upgrade in the pre-processing phase. Here there is a downtime in the pre-processing phase. Here there is a downtime for the your developers. Why? Because they cannot perform any development changes. Why? Because shadow system is created here. Data should copy from the original repository to shadow repository. While copying the data, so this should not be locked. This should not be accessible to the users. Why? Because if someone data is copying from here to here, if someone changed the data here we have the one version of the data, here we have the different version of the data here. So to avoid this kind of inconsistencies, so SAP, some tool will lock the your development repository, your development system will be locked here. Once the development system
So,
is
sir, it will be logged in which phase, sir?
pre-processing, I'm talking about the pre,
Pre-process.
yeah. So in the pre-processing phase, the development system will be locked. Only development system means development changes are not will not happen. Then so it will start the copying the data from the original system to, so original system to shadow repository. The data will be copied here. All the whatever the data is there here, it will copy the data. Why? Because it will so the shadow system means same as like original system here. I mean original system we have the data, then it should copy the data. So it won't copy all the data, only the repository data will be copied from the, so original repository to shadow repository. It will copy the data here. Once the data copy is done, what will happen here? Once the data copy is done original to shadow repository, so then so some tool will start upgrading the shadow system first, since you opted a shadow system here. Shadow, whatever the in the download directory you have the patches here, all the patches will be loaded to the database level, all patches will be upgraded, everything will happen in the pre-processing step. Shadow will be upgraded in the pre-processing step here. Once the data is copied from here to here, then from here there is the main system data repository, here repository, everything is same. Then shadow will be upgraded, shadow system will be upgraded to the main shadow system will be upgraded. So whatever the patch level you have to upgrade it, it will upgrade the first shadow system. Till then, your main system is available. The users are accessible to the SAP main system. They can do the work and all those things they can perform on the main system here. But here, so shadow is created. Why? Because to avoid the disturbance of the main system here, some will create the one shadow SAP system, SAP instance. One shadow repository will be created. Shadow repository will be copy the data. Then this will be upgraded to the highest level. The shadow will be upgraded to the latest level. It will be upgraded. So once it is upgraded, so what will happen? The pre-processing will be completed. When the shadow upgrade completed, then pre-processing is completed. Here we need to perform the SPDD. Here means the developer will perform the SPDD changes here. So here they will log into the 000 client, any one of the copy of the DDIC user which we create. Then they will log into the shadow system. They will log into the shadow SAP system here. Then they will do the modification adjustments. They will do the modification adjustments here. So SPDD is to data dictionary objects. The changes to the SPDD are very important. It should be carried out with the carefully we need to handle here. So data dictionary objects here. So type, table, views, domain, elements. So all those things will comes under the, so all those things will comes under the, so data dictionary objects here. Data dictionary objects here. So those things will happen in the SP. And after the upgrade is completed in the shadow system, we can log into the shadow system. So those things we can verify it here whether our patch levels are correct, are there any issues, and functional team they will perform the data dictionary objects. Why? Because as part of the SPDD, as part of the SPDD, new programs will come. Why? Because as part of the upgrade project, your upgrade work, as part of the new patches, new programs, new enhancements, the code changes, the bug changes will happen here. So for this one, data the this one our developer has to confirm whether they can retain the previous custom code or they want to carry out the new changes. So the elements, deleted objects, all those things they have to perform. So they are the responsible. They will take care of the SPDD changes, data dictionary changes. But this has to be performed by developer before end of the pre-processing phase. Mandatory, you have to perform the, so end of the pre-processing phase, you have to perform this work. That is the mandatory. End of the pre-processing, you need to perform this work here, SPDD. So once the SPDD work is completed here, then what is the next step here? When the next step starting is the execution. Execution phase is the downtime phase here. In the downtime phase, what will happen? Whatever the data is copied here, so same data will start copying to the main system here. While copying the data here, your original SAP system will be stopped status. Here is the exact downtime of our main system here, right? So why? Because up to till pre-processing, end of the pre-processing, our main system will be available. It's available for the transactions and etc. here, right? So once the data transactions everything is done here, so what we can do, so we can, so not we, so like in the, when you click on the in the end of the execution here, the data will be copied from the shadow repository to the original repository. The data will be copied here. So here shadow repository to the original repository, the data will be copied, means upgraded data. But because this has been upgraded, our developers also performed the changes, everything is done. The data copy will happen from the shadow repository to the main repository here. So while copying the data, SAP should be stopped status. So that's why the execution phase is called the downtime phase. This phase we will run it in the weekends. Why? Because here SAP is stopping. So we will run it in the weekends here. Then once the data is copied, then all the application tables are upgraded. Here application tables also will be upgraded to the latest conversions and whatever it may be, it will be upgraded. So these three things will happen, right? Main system will be stopped, shadow repository to main repository, application tables will be upgraded here. Once everything is done, the downtime is finished here. So then once the downtime is finished in the post processing step, so people will perform the in the original system, people will perform the SPAU. Repository changes in the main client, they will perform it here. This you have the 14 days time to perform these changes here. Within 40 days you can perform it, but this is before going to the execution from pre-processing. End of the pre-processing, you will have to perform the SPDD changes here. Otherwise the customer changes will lost. Customer programs, whatever the latest version, that programs will be lost here, right? The data will be lost. So here, then this is the 14 days time. So you go to the perform SPAU. SPDD is the data dictionary objects. SPAU is the repository objects. Repository objects means programs, reports, screens, messages, nodes, functional modules, all those things will comes under the repository, right? So all those things will comes under the repository here, right? So data dictionary means database tables, structures, right? Data elements, all those things will comes under the so data dictionary here. Repository means programs, so reports, so those things will comes under the so programs, reports, screens, messages, functional models, those things will comes under the repository objects that we can perform after the so main upgrade completes. After the main upgrade, we can perform the those steps as well here, right? So this is the entire upgrade. So then once the pre-processing is done, the execution is done, then post processing, the cleanup will happen, means shadow system will be deleted, shadow system, shadow repository, everything will be deleted, folders, logs, everything will be deleted. System is slightly available for the users then. So you can perform the SPAU 14 days time, that we can do that one. So this is the entire some upgrade. This will happen here overall. So these steps will happen in the phases by phases. Extraction, configuration checks, nothing will happen. So only the pre-steps here, extraction of the softwares, validation of the software, XML file validations. So
Sir, one question, sir. So this SPDD development before pre-processing also it will come, sir, somewhere in configuration or
SPDD,
somewhere.
SPDD transports, if you have any transports, that will ask the transports. So if before the system, maybe you are doing the second system in your landscape. So when you have done the SPDD changes in the first system, so that time you have the developers, they will do the adjustments, they will record the changes into the one of the transport request. Then they will share the transport request to you. Then that time you need to provide the transport SPDD changes. They no need to perform again in the quality systems. Only one system they will perform. They will record the changes into the one transport request. They will share the transport request to you. Then you have to provide this transport request to the sum tool. So in the configuration phase, it will ask the please provide the SPDD, SPU transports, customer transports, uptime processing, uptime, how many process, SGN you required or not. So these steps will ask. That time you need to provide the SPDD transport request number.
Sir, can I provide this same transport in pre-processing?
Pre-processing step.
Suppose I forgot in configuration.
So in the configuration step, if you perform it, then so that's pre-processing. There is no step to ask that all those things here. So there is no step to ask this
Oh,
again. Provided everything here. So we need to carefully plan these steps and everything here. Otherwise, your changes will be lost. So whatever the step it is asking, instead of clicking blindly, you need to you need to give the clear parameters. All those things we have to clearly check. So few of the things we can edit it, the parameters, uptime, downtime, how many. So these things we can edit it. Suppose if you miss the transport request, so that's not possible to import also here. So after the upgrade or again, you need to do the go back and those things we have to do it. So that's why we should not miss this transports and everything. Carefully, we need to give all those things here.
sir, will we be doing advanced some options also, like in future classes, or is this it?
Advanced is
Like zero downtime, some options will be there, sir. I've seen it.
standard or advanced are same, both are same. The main thing is here like a, so if it is the standard, standard resources, standard process will be applicable. Standard process, standard resources are there here. Standard resources means standard process here. If it is advanced, it will be doubled. So 12 to 8, 8, 8 to so 16 process or 14 plus 4 like 12 process, 12 process, 12 process, 24, 16, 16 means double process here. That is the only the advanced. Near zero means it's not the zero time, near to zero downtime, near to zero here. So here we can, this is the one of the analysis file here, epgana.xml file. Here you will get the clear information here, how many process you are using here. Then, so what are the tools, what are the versions you are going to update it here. These things here, it will be displayed here. Each phase, how much time it's taken, extraction, how much time taken, configuration phase, how much time taken, and check phase, how much time taken. Then all the three phases are completed. So three phases, how much time is completed, that is giving the information here. VP gonna data. What are the components here? That components are going to upgrade to the from which level to which level. So then, so kernel also destination and source both are same. Kernel are not changing. So all the information, it's giving the details here. All the information it's giving the, so it's giving the information here. So in the analysis file here. So DB statistics, CPU time, memory time, process. So all those things will be displayed. So in the utilities file, if we go to the sum utilities file, we can check the analysis file, how much time taken and all those things here. So anytime when you stop it here up to pre-processing, anytime we can do the reset option. But anytime we can go for the reset option here. So, but once the pre-processing is completed, we cannot do the reset. Means, suppose now here you realize that some upgrade will not be proceed. There are some issues. We need to roll back. Then you need to do the reset option here. So these things we have to perform in the systems. This is the entire overall some upgrade procedure here. So some logs here, if you see the some logs will be stored into the under ESR SAP SID here. You see here some, so here above, some above. So here the main thing is the log folder. The logs will be saved, whatever the some in the some screen we are seeing the logs, all logs will be here as well. Then some shadow system related details will be created, some above system. Here we have the profiles, shadow system related profiles and everything here. Based on that shadow system will be created. Then some shadow above exe. Then this is the shadow kernel here. This is the shadow kernel here. So these are some of the files are important here, right? These are the some related binaries here. So this is the shadow really some shadow related kernel files here. This is the shadow system related exe files and everything. You can see it here, exe and all those things we can see it here. Those things we can see it here. Some above. These are the profiles of the shadow systems and all the details we have here. Okay, so these are the details we have in the systems. Okay, so main thing is you need to you need to book your developer resources to perform these phases here. So these phases we have the time, anytime you can perform. These phases we have to perform in the shadow only. So that definitely you need to create a shadow user, one of the shadow user in the 000 client copy of the DDS. You can ask him to perform it. So those things we have to do it in the systems. Okay. So this is the entire some upgrade concept.